Because even my mom told me I wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, which I think, shout out to my mom for being honest. You just want to be in the room. Because once you're in the room, you're all goats.
LeRoy Butler, the pride of Jacksonville, set to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His path to Canton, on and off the field, is one deserving of receiving pro football's highest honor. You'll hear about his journey through the eyes of his brother.
It's simple. That LeRoy today is a LeRoy we were 7 and 8.
His friend and former high school teammate.
That's our teammate. That's our guy. We got our guy in.
That's your brother.
That's my brother.
One of his favorite teachers.
I just gave a little bit to him, to that student, and then that blessed him and me.
And those who competed against him.
LeRoy, that as great as he is, he's as humble as they are.
And the man himself.
It was up to me. I'll bring all hundreds of my teammates from high school, college, everywhere to just see me represent them.
So sit back and relax as we tell you the story of Duval legend LeRoy Butler. Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Chris Porter. LeRoy Butler is Jacksonville's own, set to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame Saturday afternoon. The Lee High, now Riverside High alum, was raised in one of the poorest and roughest projects here in Jacksonville. But LeRoy did not allow poverty or physical challenges to stop him as a child. He was born severely pigeon-toed and had club feet. He had to use leg braces to help him walk. His path to the Pro Football Hall of Fame is nothing less than inspiring, one fit for a movie, and as you'll see, he did it all with that infamous smile. As we take you on LeRoy's journey to Canton, we begin with someone who's been there every step of the way, his oldest brother, Mike. Oldest brother.
Correct.
LeRoy Butler.
Correct.
Who's the best athlete in the family?
If I tell it, I say nothing. If LeRoy tell it, he say me.
And so, what did you play?
Everything but soccer.
Everything but soccer.
Everything but soccer.
Is your family, is just in you guys' DNA for everybody just to be athletic?
In a sense, my youngest brother didn't like it.
Okay.
And LeRoy had the hardest time. He had the, he had dedication, perseverance and all that, but he couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. So it was always be gentle with him, but being a big brother, I'm not about to be gentle. We get on the bed at the house, and the pillows was a touchdown. Edge of the bed, 3-yard line. You got to get to the pillows. And I never gave him a break. And he got about 14, 15. He continuously got to that pillow.
So at what age were you guys competing on the bed to get to that end zone?
I would say I was about 9, so LeRoy was about 8. And he had this little difficulty of doing things, but he never let it get him down. He was gonna always try. He's stubborn, hard-headed, so he stayed driven. And I told him, you get here.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be soft on you. Your legs straight now, let's do what we gotta do.
At what point did you really begin to see and know, my brother's got that it factor?
Yeah, it was about, I wanna say I was 14, he was 13. We were going to Fort Carolina Middle School, and story LeRoy would tell all the time. I was playing quarterback, and LeRoy was trying to make the team as defensive end, linebacker, anything he could. So, politicking, I couldn't play quarterback. They were gonna move me. So I said, if you're moving me, coach said, I got 2 positions. You got 1. I said, if you're moving me, I'm not playing. Give my brother, he won it. And from that point on, I'm thinking nothing of it. By the time 4th game in junior high, LeRoy had down like 10, 11 tackles, and this when he was in 8th grade. He out there with 10, 11 tackles. They even put him on the offensive side. He running, getting 3 carries for like 18 yards, never played running back. So that's when I knew he broke through.
LeRoy is never ashamed to talk about you guys living in the projects. How did living in such a tough environment help create and develop you guys into the men that you are now?
Tightness, family oriented, and being humble. When you learn to live without it, you get it as nothing. You don't know you got it. That's why I tell most people, they meet my brother or meet me. People meet me and say, that's your brother, why you never said anything? It's been my brother my whole life. Same way with him, they see and they're like, he played football. It's not all the pizzazz, not the jewelry, the flashing, the talking. this type of thing. So I mean, that probably came from my mom. You know, it was her and us. You know, so coming up without nothing make you humble. Make you humble, make you hungry, and make you stick together. If I don't get it, you're gonna get it. So me being the oldest is like, if I can't have it, you're gonna get it. So I'm doing everything so you can get it. You know, fight everything on the outside. You know, our neighborhood, Blodgers, rough as in Jacksonville. You know, you come outside, you fight. Not my younger brothers, not even my sister. My sister 5 years older, I'm scrapping for her. And it was that kind of environment. So I never had a big brother, no father figure, but a mother figure that was strong and stern. So lights, night, fall, it get dark outside, we gotta be in the house. And we learned to do that. But I mean, that's the biggest thing. When you come from nothing, you can only be hungry and you stay humble. You know, you get real values by having nothing when you start.
And while you say you lived in a rough neighborhood, one thing I do know, having grown up in the hood myself back home, is that when people in that neighborhood, when you're one of them and you've got an opportunity to get out, they embrace you and protect you. Was it the same for LeRoy?
Oh, exactly. I mean, even today, we try to keep the memories of that neighborhood. I mean, with all the bad things that happen there, you got older heads, which, you know, I'm becoming now. You know, when he made the Hall, I'm getting phone calls from everywhere. The love is natural because you all grew up in the same environment. You go through the same trials and tribulations. But at the same time, you find yourself at war and combatants as an adolescent. But when you become adult, you know that hardened everybody. And so you have a better sense of camaraderie. It's sort of like being at war, you know? Because that's just how you came up. You knew no better. But as you become an adult, those same guys come around as a camaraderie, and you learn to protect the ones that came from there and always feel like, okay, I'm his brother, and we got 2 other brothers and a sister. But once he made it, the whole Blodgers became his brother. You know, it's not a cousin, it's not a friend, we all brothers. And that's what you get. You love to see them make it. When somebody make it, it's a family.
Later in the show, Mike will share the moment LeRoy called him to say he had been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mike will also tell us what this honor means to their family, the people in the neighborhood him and LeRoy grew up in, and to the city of Jacksonville. You'll also hear what Mike thinks their mom, Eunice, would say if she were alive. LeRoy Butler began to get football coaches and players' attention during his middle school days, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee did not grab the attention of football fans across the First Coast until he arrived at Lee High School. At the time, the Generals were loaded with talent, led by the late and legendary Corky Rogers, the winningest high school football coach in the Sunshine State's history. It was at Lee LeRoy met one of his good friends and former teammates, Sylvester Pinckney. All right, Sylvester, let's address the elephant in the room. This jersey, this nice jersey you have. Yeah. Show it off. Show us the jersey.
Here we go. So
open it up now. This TV, Sylvester,
wait a minute, hold up. You know, I got to show the front first, but I got to make it authentic. Right here. So,
is this a game jersey?
Listen to me, Chris. This is my boy. He made sure I got it when he was in town. Because we took some kids to the NFL Hall of Fame.
And so I noticed sign,
you see it?
Hall of Fame 2022.
There you go.
So let's talk about LeRoy Butler. I call him LeRoy.
That's right.
I know he has 3 names.
That's right.
LeRoy, Roy, Leroy.
That's right.
I say LeRoy.
That's right.
You played with him in high school.
That's right.
Before you talk about that, name some of the primetime players who were on that Lee team.
Woo. We had All-American linebacker named Milton Gordon. Played at Tennessee. James Coley played 5 years with the Bears, and he played at Clemson. And we had a whole bunch of like other guys that went. We were stacked, man.
So you're telling me that when LeRoy moved from junior varsity to varsity, he was playing the best of the best in practice.
That's right. Yeah. You had to earn it. LeRoy had to come in on a loaded team and make sure that he didn't go back to JV. Right.
At what point did you guys realize LeRoy Butler is that dude?
Well, in practice, he had this keen sense of awareness of the football. He'll come up and smack you. You know, he just had the it. But what was amazing is he transferred it to the field in game night.
So he quickly rises to start level on the high school level. Did his personality ever change?
No.
Did you guys ever have conversations in high school about what his long-term dreams and aspirations were?
No, we didn't. But when he started to like intercept these footballs and then taking them back. And then you start talking about you making the Bally's All-American, Adidas All-American. That's a different conversation now.
He really, in a conversation with him not that long ago, talked about the profound influence that Corky Rogers, the legendary late Corky Rogers, had on him. Talk about how he influenced LeRoy and yourself during that time.
Well, you know, one thing about Coach Rogers, a lot of people don't know, Coach, he came up a tough area as well. Coach Story, his work ethic, and he didn't play. Coach, he didn't care who you were, you had to perform during the week before you even got on Friday. So Coach was a very instrumental coach to a lot of urban kids.
What was it like? You saw him in high school,
Right.
but then see him go to one of the top collegiate programs in the country and do his thing.
Right. Man, he just, you know, what I seen was a kid that continued to get his confidence, a kid to look in the mirror and say, man, I'm one of the best in the country. I'm the best. I'm the best.
And what did that do for you?
I mean, just what it did for me was like, man, I'm a proud big brother. First of all, we looking at it like, man, we got our guy in.
Mm-hmm.
Proud. Mm-hmm. I'm proud. I told him that 1,000 times. I said, man, I'm proud of you. We proud of you. You know, because now you had to be patient. You know, to wait on your time. He earned it through coming up with challenges, coming out of an environment where it's very uncomfortable, to being an All-American, coming in, couldn't play because of Proposition 48, and coming on and being a successful now Hall of Famer.
Now, I don't know if it's the lights, but as you were speaking about the things he had to overcome, your eyes got a little misty.
That's right.
Why does it make you so emotional?
Because when we see the Butler, that's our teammate. That's our guy. We got our guy in.
That's your brother.
That's my brother. Chris, that's stuff, man, that's a movie. And being able to now say, hey, I made it. So when you see all of that, man, and you bring it together, man, that's powerful. That's powerful, man. That's very powerful.
No doubt about it, that is powerful. As Sylvester Pinckney shared, LeRoy Butler's success on the high school gridiron had the top Division I football coaches clamoring for his services. LeRoy would eventually choose to play his college football for the late and legendary Bobby Bowden at Florida State. However, before he left Lee High School, he still had some work to do academically his senior year. It was the same year LeRoy met one of his favorite teachers, Diane Gordon, a teacher he remains in contact with to this day. In fact, he talks about her in his book. Ms. Gordon shares how she met LeRoy and the role she thinks she played in convincing him to choose the Seminoles of Florida State.
Right, so this was the fall of his senior year.
Turning through the pages of the 1986 Lee High School yearbook, now retired teacher Deanne Gordon takes me down memory lane, sharing stories of her famous and former student, LeRoy Butler.
He got in trouble. He's like, I just always smile.
Gordon was introduced to LeRoy his senior year. LeRoy, a standout football player for the Generals, was struggling with Algebra 1, and his coaches asked her to tutor him.
When I would tutor someone, I would always try to get to know them a little bit so you could have that relationship so they would trust me.
Was he focused? Did he want to do it?
Yes, he was fine. He knew he had to do it. He knew the coaches would not let him out on that football field till he finished his tutoring session. And he was determined and driven. You know, he was goal-oriented, and he knew he had to do this to get in college.
An NCAA rule called Proposition 48 required high school seniors to pass the SAT. Ms. Gordon says LeRoy tried, but his math skills were low and he did not make it. So he became what the NCAA called a Proposition 48 player. So once he graduated high school, LeRoy had to sit out his first year at Florida State.
But that turned out to be good because he was able to study and focus on that and bring his grades up and his skills up, which helped him later, you know, through the rest of the college year to graduate.
Why do you think of all the educators that he met during his career, he thinks so highly of you?
That's a good question. I think from what he has told me is that I just tried to treat everybody fairly, like the same. And I just feel like God orchestrated that, really. He put us together because LeRoy needed me at that time, and it's like I needed LeRoy right now, since, you know, I lost my parents last year, and I was kind of down, and then I got a call from LeRoy.
Wow.
And he was going to share this with me, which is very humbling.
That he had been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Yes.
That was the news he was calling to tell
Right.
you? He had no clue your parents had passed?
No, no, he didn't know.
Did you know the struggles that he was facing at home?
I don't think I did. He would have never known it. I mean, because I met him when he was 17, so, you know, and he was running on the football field. I never knew that. And then the fact that he came from Logic Homes, like, can't get any poorer than that, you know, so that was rough.
What are you most proud of? Of all of his accomplishments, what are you most proud of?
Well, I was definitely proud when he went to FSU, and, you know, then he came under the coaching of Bobby Bowden, and then his NFL career, and then he created the Lambeau Leap. I mean, I thought that was so hysterical. And now, all these years later, they're picking him up for the Hall of Fame. I don't know how long men usually have to wait for that, but he's waited a lot of time. So, I say I'm a football fan, but I don't really know all the ins and outs of it. But my brother, who does, tells me the Hall of Fame is a big deal.
It is. It's the highest honor you can receive as an NFL football player.
That's impressive.
Diane Gordon told me she plans to watch the enshrinement ceremony, but she doesn't know where she's going to watch it at quite yet. Earlier in the show, LeRoy's oldest brother, Mike, shared how his younger brother did not allow poverty, physical challenges, or having to sit out the first year of college stop him from becoming one of the greatest NFL players to ever wear one of their jerseys. Well, in part 2 of my one-on-one conversation with Mike, he walks me back through the phone call him and LeRoy had the day LeRoy found out he had been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mike also tells me why, although this is the highest honor an NFL player can receive, there's something else LeRoy has accomplished that he's most proud of. And finally, what their mom, Miss Eunice, LeRoy's strongest supporter, would have said if she were alive. What is it, when you think about all the things your brother has been able to accomplish in his short life, what is there an accomplishment, or there's something about him that has inspired you?
It's simple. That LeRoy today is the LeRoy when we were 7 and 8. Lord knows I am so happy for him to make the Hall of Fame. But where he came from to make any sports team, that was gratitude. And for him to reach the pinnacle in a sport that he loved, that's great. But the greatest thing is knowing all his accolades, he's still the same Roy when we were 7 or 8.
Why does that mean so much to you?
Because, I mean, everything my mom taught us, the humbleness to accept what comes your way, good or bad, you know, to never be boastful. Someone needs something, help them. Stand firm in what you believe, do it your way, never stop, and don't get too high, don't get too low. Don't let what people say bring you up or bring you down. Just remain steady the course, and he's done that.
He, you know, you guys being so close and you saying, you know, you being that big brothers, as most big brothers, good ones are, they are always pushing you to be better and better and better. What do you think about the fact when he credits some of his success based on the love you've given him?
Like I say, we grew up in the days where it wasn't a food stamp card or food stamps, and you get, your change was a piece of paper with 25 cents on it. You know, you get closeness when you know there's nothing else there. You know, when it's me, my sister, my brother, our family, we wake up together, we go to sleep together, you know that knit is there. That's what it's all about. You just can never lose that.
What was your reaction, and walk me back through when he told you, because I know they know before we do that he had been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I think it was like 2.5 weeks before they announced it. And he's like, Mike. I'm like, well, what you doing? I said, you all right? He's like, I made it. And right then, we both were just like literally like bawling, and he was saying thank you, and I was saying thank you. It's like, it means a lot what you did for me, and I'm vice versa, and I'm like, he pouring it into me, and I'm pouring it into him. Here's thank you for everything. being the best big brother of mine is, no, it's in you. I saw it, you just brought it out. You know, it's almost like he congratulated me and I'm congratulating him at the same time. It was just overwhelming.
What does it mean to those people who grew up in that neighborhood where you grew up at as a child?
It kind of means everything. You know, I talked to a couple of guys, and sometimes when just one person make it, whether you made it or not, you feel a part of that journey.
I know you and several family members are going to make the trip to Canton. Have you thought about, envisioned seeing your brother, seeing that bust and seeing him don that yellow jacket?
Not really. It's one of those things where you can think, you can imagine, but until it hits you, you know, it's like the birth of a child. You know your wife pregnant for 9 months, but until that baby actually there and it's tangible in your hands, you never know. You're like, well, I'm gonna jump up and down, and that's one of those moments that kind of change your life, but you don't know it until you actually can see it and it's tangible. So I'm in the aspect that it'll be something like that, you know, holding back tears, but tears coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For those young people who aspire to be your brother, if there's one thing you want them to take from his success, what is it and why?
Nobody holds your future but you. Because, I mean, like I said, everybody knows the story of LeRoy couldn't walk. LeRoy had problems with his feet. But, you know, we sat down at 6 and 7 watching football and we just fell in love with it. He played basketball because football was out of season. He played baseball because football was out of season. But it's just knowing that the only person that holds your future is you. You know, when you wake up, if it's what you want, go after it. You know what I'm saying? You haven't failed unless you haven't tried.
And then finally, if your mom were here, what do you think she'd say?
Go pack dough. And that's my baby.
Thank you, my guy. I appreciate that. Good stuff.
Sure.
Thank you, brother.
Sure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So you've heard from LeRoy's oldest brother, Mike, his former high school teammate and friend, Sylvester Pinckney, and one of his favorite teachers, Diane Gordon. Now it's time to hear from the Hall of Fame inductee himself. Andrew Badillo caught up with Jacksonville's own LeRoy Butler.
The leap from Duval to Green Bay was quite the shock for LeRoy Butler.
I remember getting to the stadium and I went over to the thermostat and I saw a minus. I'm from Duval County, and I saw a minus next to a 16, and I thought they really forfeit games. I didn't think we played in games that cold.
Needless to say, Butler acclimated quickly and went on to make 4 Pro Bowls, earn 4 first-team All-Pro nods, and win a Super Bowl in 1996. The stats already deserving of a Hall of Fame selection, but one play helped cement Butler's case as a Packer icon.
Mike Holmgren always said, if you get a fumble, you're a defensive player, don't lateral the ball, but Reggie wanted to do it. It's Reggie White, right? So Reggie laterals this ball, I'm running down the sideline, and it's all spontaneous. And when I jumped up there and, you know, the hugging the best fans. So that was my way of loving the fans and hugging them.
The Lambeau Leap became legend in Wisconsin. On TV, radio, and every kid's backyard, the leap made fans feel a part of the action.
We're the only team that can say that not only do we love our fans on paper, but we love them in person as well. And that's what the leap stands for.
A man with an infectious smile, physical gifts exclusive to an elite class of athlete. A man who grew up with the bright lights of the NFL in his dreams. Butler thought his fantasy would never come alive. His mother, Eunice, thought otherwise.
She taught me a long line of things, that you have a special needs kid who can't go outside and can't go swimming, can't do sleepovers. You gotta be a patient person. And then I think it all came about when my grandmother and my mom had a conversation that they basically said that God gives everybody a talent.
Butler had a club foot as a child and spent time in a wheelchair, sitting in his chair wondering what his talent was. Not speed, strength, or agility. Instead, it was something else. A talent that separates the good from the Hall.
And my grandmother was saying, your talent is you have a unique ability to ignore anything that's negative, and that's the way it's going to work. So I pretty much had that in my mind the whole time.
He overcame his physical disability, started at Lee High School, Florida State, achieved his dream of playing in the NFL and getting that knock. a moment his late mother prepared him for.
She was always trying to say, you just want to be in the room, because once you're in the room, you're all goats.
A dream in a wheelchair. A leap into Canton.
Thank you, Andrew. You already know you're not elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame without putting up some incredible numbers. He's a Super Bowl champion, a four-time first-team All-Pro. He's a part of the 90s All-Decade team and is the first player in NFL history with 20 sacks and 20 interceptions. And check this out. LeRoy Butler will become the fourth player who played their high school football here in Jacksonville to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He joins Harold Carmichael and Brian Dawkins. They played their high school football at Raines. Bob the Bullet Hayes, he attended Matthew Gilbert High School. Here now is former Jaguars offensive lineman Leon Searcy on the impact LeRoy Butler has had on the city of Jacksonville.
LeRoy, that as great as he is, he's as humble as they are. I mean, and he never gives credit to himself. He's always pointing out to this person, that person. This is, I mean, that is a true sign of a champion. With Eagles not involved, and he always stays grassroots. Mm-hmm. He always says, if it wasn't for Duval, mm-hmm. I mean, this man is born and bred in depth in Jacksonville. I mean, he's their nature boy. He's from this area. He's from the areas that kids are trying to get out of. Mm-hmm. You know, that's synonymous for kids. He's an inspiration for those kind of kids. That's synonymous with Jacksonville. And some of these troubled areas, and you see one come out, mm-hmm. and as great as he is, that's inspiring.
I hope you've enjoyed Duval legend LeRoy Butler's path to Canton. Without question, we're proud of him. As former Jaguars offensive lineman Leon Searcy said, LeRoy is the fabric of Jacksonville, an inspiration. I will see you guys live from Canton beginning Wednesday night, and I'll be there Saturday when LeRoy Butler is officially enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Enjoy your day.